Hello everyone, my name is Amanda Stafford and this is week 2 video assignment. Our professor asked us to give a speech this week about an event or a memoir that occurred in our life. So I'm going to tell you guys a funny story about something that happened in my childhood. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the phrase stranger danger. Sadly, in today's society we have to constantly remind our kids, don't talk to strangers, don't go with anybody that you don't know or you're familiar with. Well, my parents have always trained me to not talk to strangers. It doesn't matter what they look like. You don't go with them if you don't know them. Well, I must have been about 5 or 6 years old at the time, and my family's Catholic, and we went on a pilgrimage to a place called Conyers, Georgia. And there's a lady that lived there. Her name is Nancy Fowler. She was a visionary, and she received messages from the Blessed Virgin Mary. Well, we got in the car, and it was a long car ride from South Carolina to Georgia. I went with my mother and grandmother and 2 of my siblings. So we got there and parked the car, got out and looked around a little bit, got familiar with the grounds. On one side of the farm, there was the Stations of the Cross, and all the way on the other side of the farm, they had this winding path that led to a well with holy water. So we kept walking around, and then in the middle of this farm there was this beautiful tall cross. And as a child I just remember looking up at it because it was so big, and I was just like, wow, this is awesome. So I was mesmerized by it and standing there looking around and everything. And my mom says to my grandma, "Can you watch Amanda for a minute?" She must have had to go do something with one of my other siblings. So my grandmother is like, "Sure, I'll watch Amanda for a minute." So I'm sitting there admiring the statue, that beautiful cross that I was mesmerized by, and I turned around to ask my grandmother a question, and she was nowhere to be found. So I kept looking for her and calling her name, "Oma, Oma, where are you?" which is the German name for grandmother. So no response. So being that I was only about 5 or 6 years old, I was scared and I panicked. And I think I did what, any normal child would do, is go looking for your grandmother. So I started back down the winding path back to the well where we had gotten our holy water from. And along the way, there was this old lady, and she came up to me. She must have saw that I was walking all by myself and thought it was strange. So she comes up to me and says, "Are you lost? Where's your mother?" And I said, "I don't know where my mother is. I'm looking for my grandmother." So she took my hand, grabbed my hand and was like, "Well, come with me, I'll help you find her." Well, my parents had trained me, never to go with a stranger. So I, freaked out a little bit, and I was like, no, I can't go with you. And she's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'll help you find your grandmother, whoever it is that you're looking for." And I just kept saying, no, and she wouldn't listen. And I didn't want to go with this strange lady anywhere. So I bit this poor lady's hand and took off running back in the same direction that I had came from. Well, all this poor lady could do was yell after me, I was only trying to help. I just kept running. I didn't look back. So I just kept running back to where I came from, back to that big cross where I had remembered seeing my family last. And luckily, when I got back to that spot, I see my mother standing there with that frantic look of horror on her face, "Where's my child? Where has she been?" And she sees me and she comes running over to me. "Amanda, where have you been? I've been looking all over for you. Don't ever do that to me." And I had to explain to her, "Mom, I was trying to find Oma. She was here a second ago, and then I couldn't find her. So I went looking for her." So I told her everything that happened. And then I told her about the incident with the poor old lady and how I bit her hand because she was a stranger and she was trying to take me somewhere that I didn't want to go. So my mom felt so bad for this poor sweet old lady who was only trying to help. But I think that she was also glad that I had listened to her and didn't go with a stranger. So that's my funny memoir from my past. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.